Hey, welcome to Buy Our Book. We answer questions off the internet so we can have a reason to promote our book. Operation Freakshow. I'm Dave Koco. He's Ray Fisher. And welcome to Buy Our Book. Now, we're going to pretend that even though we have not aired zero, we've aired zero of these. We're recording them all in one day. We're back from lunch. We're going to pretend it's from someone. Mike Bua sends in the question. What did Mike Bua send in?
Mike Bua asks, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
When did you realize you wanted to be a writer?
I have yet to realize that I want to be a writer, actually.
You can do it. You can do it. I guess I'll go first.
Go ahead. Yeah. I've answered. I'm finished.
I was always like a storyteller. So I always had action figures and shit.
Yeah.
And I'd always do a story and do my own little adventure. I think a lot of kids created the same stories. They're like, oh, this is what the Black Panther does in episode 1. Yeah. This is what Spider-Man does. I'm like, oh, what if Spider-Man fucking did this instead? And I always had to whatever size they were, that's the size they were in the thing. If Spider-Man was this big, he had to live in a world where it was that big, and he had to figure out how to fight crime and shit. Yeah, but and I always I love pro wrestling, as a lot of people know. And I used to put on pro wrestling shows with my I don't know, cousin. We called each other cousins. I don't know if we're officially cousins. Dave Tees.
Action figures or?
Yeah, but we'd sell tickets and everything. Oh, okay. We'd have a little show. Yeah. And then I remember I would tell these over-the-top lies. I remember telling people I was a Russian spy. They were so over the fucking top that the teachers found them to be amazing. So, my teacher would get me during lunchtime and be like, dude, tell the other teachers how you're a Russian spy. And granted, it's lying, but they were fucking entertained. And I was like, if you're going to lie, you go all out. And then, so I always been loopy and crazy and wanted to tell stories. But I remember the exact moment I fucking realized being a writer could be a job. I snuck in to see Transformers, the good one, not before Michael Bay raped it in the asshole. I don't know if we're allowed to say that. We just did. Where Michael Bay just fucking destroyed Transformers, the cartoon one. Remember the cartoon one?
Yeah.
Greatest soundtrack ever. And I just remember watching it, and I've always found the cartoons to be boring back then because no one died because they weren't allowed to kill humans. Okay. But Transformers, the movie, Optimus Prime died and a lot of fuckers died. And I was like, this is amazing. I didn't know people could die in stories. And then as the credits rolled, it just said written by, I don't even know who it was written by. And I left the movie theater saying I want to be a writer. As soon as I saw Transformers, the cartoon, I always knew I was crazy telling weird ass stories, but I didn't know you could get paid to do that. And then I was like, oh man, but I connected it with Transformers. That, and also there's a couple teachers that helped me along the way. Teachers guided me because I was a horrible student. Surprise, surprise. And Miss Cribbs, she gave me a chance because she just saw in 6th grade I was reading Stephen King.
What's her name?
Miss Cribbs. I remember Miss Cribbs, Miss Lowblind.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Dean Kors. I only remember 4 teachers because they were all awesome. But one time, Miss Cribbs, to build up my confidence, she was like, you're a really good writer. And I was like, my confidence was fucking low. I was like, get the fuck out of here with that shit, Miss Cribbs. And she's like, watch, I'll show you. And she's like, write something. And I was like, oh, and I went home. But it was my first real writing assignment because no one fucking cared what I did. No one. No. Miss Cribbs is the first adult next to Miss Lowblind that even noticed I was alive. And I was like, oh shit, I got to come through on Miss Cribbs. So I did this story about a guy who made a 911 call inside a haunted house. And Frankenstein was going to, all the monsters were going on him, but he was just flipping the fuck out on the phone. And then she read it she read it, and I was like, no one's going to fucking like it. I was like, no, Miss Cribbs, you're fucking insane. No one's going to like this. And she's like, all right, listen, just don't say it's by you. I'm just going to read it. And she read it in class, and everyone was like, that was the greatest effing story ever. And I was like, man, it felt good. And then they're like, who wrote it? And I was a bitch. I didn't like raise my hand or anything. It felt good. I was smiling like I'm pretty sure they knew. Because they do the little orphan and Dave. I'm so happy. And then like after a while I didn't take my stance. I was like, oh, I wrote it. But then like at recess, I was like, hey guys, I wrote that. Ain't I cool? And they're like, yeah, that happened like 10 minutes ago, bitch. You missed your opportunity. But Miss Cribs hooked me up. So did that story motivate you to become a writer?
That was a very in-depth answer, I would say. Learning about child, you should get in contact with.
I hope she's still alive.
Oh yeah,
I hope so. We're old.
Yeah,
You got to remember, in your stories, there's a good
about,
chance all the people in your story are dead. Welcome to being old.
All
right. Make sure to buy our book. Make Miss Cribs happy. Buy Operation Freak Show. I don't think she'd be happy with this. She was a saint, and this has a lot of bad words in it.
She should be happy about it.
Yeah. Buy this for Miss Cribs. With that, we'll be back next week. I am over. Ba-na-na-na-na-na. Hey, ba-dum.